So I call up room service and like, just give me one of everything on the menu. And they said, we can't do that.
You've retired the 900, right? Or haven't
Oh, yes.
retired?
Very much
It
so,
was
yes.
so easy. Why'd you retire?
Yeah.
All right, let's kick it off. We are sitting in a very legendary spot. First of all, this is, to me, nostalgic.
Oh, thank you.
Just walking in here is awesome. Thank you for your time. Guys, we have Tony Hawk on the podcast today.
Hello, hello.
I can't really think of how it gets any more legendary for myself.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Like really at the top. I
Cool.
still remember where I was sitting. I was laying on my living room floor with my buddy Greg when we got the sample disc for Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Oh, Pizza Hut?
And it was like, blew our minds.
That's pretty cool.
It took over our life.
Oh, wow. Thank
It
you.
was like the craziest time. For a lot of people listening, that game is just part of our lives. You know, you were probably too young.
Yeah, I didn't play many video games.
Yeah.
And I'm not good on anything that has wheels, so.
That is very true.
Really?
Can't
Terrible on
ride a
wheels.
bike. Yeah.
We can change that.
You could do a quick skate lesson after the
Absolutely.
podcast.
Oh.
Were you
I mean, it's all here for your taking.
were you good at Pro Skater?
Yeah, okay, good. I was let's say I was good enough. I can beat all the games without turning on any cheats.
Okay.
You know, like
Yeah.
fully I didn't go into like I want to clear every single gap and hit every high rise and all that, but I definitely, I mean, I loved playing it, and I definitely played video games growing up all through the years.
Yeah.
But there is an added pressure when your name is on a game. You better be decent at it.
What is that like? Like, I know you've probably asked this question a million times, but when you see yourself in a video game, that's not just a video game. It's like worldwide.
Well, at first it was surreal and exciting, and then as we kept developing the franchise, and as the consoles got better, then it got more realistic, and now it's just eerie.
That's me.
Yeah, it's me. And also, like we did the remaster recently of 1 and 2, and my character looks like me now. So it's I never imagined that I'd be literally in my 50s in a video game and looking a little bit too
They've
more
aged
like,
you.
Yes, I know. But I mean, I guess and we had a lot of the original lineup in that game, and everyone was at their current age. So there's something to be said for what a crew, what a journey that we're all still skating.
Unbelievable.
That's very
we
impressive.
actually watched your documentary, Wheels Fall
Oh,
Off.
thank you.
On a flight out.
Oh yeah.
And it was bizarre to watch somebody's life in 2 hours.
Yeah.
Like it was
It was bizarre to have your life
it was really
out there for everyone to see in 2 hours.
It had an effect on me by the end. It was very amazing documentary.
Oh,
First
thank
of all,
you.
amazing.
It's a bit skate heavy,
rightfully.
but that's what I do.
But
You've got your board beside you right now. Does the
Well,
wife?
I know you wanted to give this away. I'm jumping ahead. You wanted to give this away, and I'd skated out here, so I just figured, why not? This is where we are.
Yeah, does the wife get mad when that's in the bed?
It's not in the bed. She skates though. She skates.
She's a good skater?
Yeah, she grew up in Detroit, punker, skater, and she still skates. All of our kids skate, so she's much more understanding of it.
Right on. What were you gonna say? I'm sorry.
I don't remember.
No, I
now.
cut you off like twice.
I know.
Well,
No idea now.
I was wildly impressed with the documentary that you had this footage of you
Yeah.
as this kid. I have not a single video of me in the 80s. Not one video.
That's weird because you grew up in a time of video cameras.
Yeah, I don't know if my parents they were flat broke, first of all, or they just had no care for cameras. But I'm watching this as somebody that likes video. Like, I don't have
Right.
a video.
Oh, that's weird.
And I'm watching your documentary like, how does he have
I was
these
lucky
moments?
that my dad, he had a Super 8 camera. And a lot of that footage you saw is from Super 8 film.
It
And
made the documentary.
It wasn't some amazing
Right.
advanced technology. He just had, I mean, if you look at what a high 8mm camera looks like,
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
But I'm just thankful he was shooting.
Dude, it made for such amazing moments to see you as a kid, and the getting to see the determination from that early age.
Oh yeah.
That you could have explained to people, but you see it in this documentary. So it was really cool.
Oh, thank you.
It's really, really cool. So what are you up to now? What's going on?
I've been skating a lot recently because I've been recovering from a broken leg from last year. Ironically and coincidentally, I broke my leg the day before the trailer dropped for that documentary.
Perfect.
Yeah, great.
Publicity stunt.
So it was unjustly poetic, and I struggled through a first round of recovery because my bone never reconnected to itself and actually started sort of going further away from getting close to healing. So I had to have it reset in November. And since that day, I've been on the right path to getting a full recovery. And I would say in the last 2 weeks, something has clicked where I'm really back.
Yeah, you look great. You rolled in here on your board.
I just mean, but mostly on this ramp.
Yeah.
So I've been skating. So to answer your question, I've been skating a lot recently, and a lot more than I have in the last year. And it feels great. It's just so nice to be able to take things for granted again that I used to be able to do that suddenly seemed insurmountable when I got hurt. And I've been doing a lot of speaking gigs.
Oh, cool.
Which I didn't imagine I'd ever be doing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I mean, I have a lot of motivational questions for you because I'm wildly inspired by guys like yourself that turn their love, their passion, this hobby into this massively successful career. And I think I like to push my viewers to not only find something you love, but turn it into success and business. And you have mastered that from an outsider's point of view from the merch to the boards to
thank you.
The games to the trademarks and branding and
I appreciate it. Yeah, I never intended that. When I started skating, there was no career to be made from it. So I never imagined that it's going to be a business or that I would be running a business. And at some point, it sort of fell upon me, especially with the success of the video game, where it was like, oh, your name is a brand now. Yeah. What are you talking about? People know you. They know the name Tony Hawk as something else, not just who you are as a person, which seemed really strange to me. But at some point, I realized that would be fun to harness that and to do stuff that's more. To do stuff that is centered in skating, but also that is fun. Like, for instance, my siblings and I, we all had kids around the same time, roughly in the 10-year span, and we just couldn't find cool clothes for them. Everything was Oshkosh bagosh, or it was like you were dressing up little soldiers or dolls. You
more
know what
preppy.
I mean? Yeah, preppy. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it was like, why can't we just have surf skate clothes?
Yeah.
So we started this brand called Hawk Clothing, and in an answer to that, and it took off, and
it took off, dude. My kids were wearing it. People were birthdays, just buying. Like, they don't even know what it is, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Everyone's
so that's what I mean. It's like became a brand, and it was stuff like that it was like, oh, we can do business. I guess I had enough failures too to keep me in check. You know what I mean? Not everything was rosy.
That would be fun to talk about too. I'd love to hear, some of the things that didn't work out because that's real. That's what people do experience, and the ability to push through the failures or the trials and continue.
I'd say, well, the most glaring mistake or misstep that I had was around that time when things were rolling, video game was hitting, Hot Clothing was going, Birdhouse was, everything was on the rise. And my partner at the time who started Birdhouse, we had a distribution brand as well. We decided we're going to do high-end denim. And it was in those days of like really expensive washed jeans. There was a thing happening like early 2000s with denim. And so we're like, we could do that. We've done clothing, we've done Birdhouse shirts and stuff. And so we jumped in with a designer and suddenly found ourselves with huge loans and cost of goods. And it wasn't all selling. I mean, not everyone wanted $200 pair of jeans. Right. Go figure. Who would have thought? And then all of a sudden it was like draining the resources of our whole building. And we ended up we ended up basically selling the brand for what we owed on it. Just to get
You broke even though. That's not too.
Kinda. I mean, it definitely there were some profits that were sucked away.
Got it.
For a year or so. But I value that lesson because it taught me that just because you're success doesn't mean everything doesn't mean you should jump into a business because you think it's cool.
Right.
Or because you think it's going to work. It's not always going to work. And I wasn't passionate about it either. So like with Birdhouse, I was so passionate about it. I was willing to push through the deadest times and to kind of make ends meet elsewhere just so I can keep that going. I wasn't willing to do that with a high-end denim brand.
Yeah, the passion is so powerful.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's no real failures with passion because you're doing it.
Right. That's it. Yeah. I mean, the skate, like when we started Birdhouse, our team riders were stenciling our logos and spraying them on our grip tape, and we were all sharing one hotel room on tour, and it was just fun because we loved the idea that we're creating a brand, and we also loved that we get to keep skating.
Yeah, and that brand's been around. When did you start Birdhouse?
1992.
1992. I just remember it everywhere. I remember drawing all of the logos in school.
Oh, that's so
right.
cool.
It's like that's when we designed our company Smile More. It's just a Smile More logo. It's very basic, but when I came up with the brand, the whole mindset was kids have to be able to draw it in school.
Yeah.
And that's
like
what
that
I said.
S, was that the Stussy S? What is that S that everyone drew?
Like
the 3 lines.
Yeah.
And
Is
I don't
that
know what that's
Stussy?
called.
I still
no idea.
I still see it.
Yeah.
Making the rounds.
Yeah, but it was all the black label and the They were so fun to draw as a kid.
Right.
So everything I've always done is kids have to be able to draw it. That was like always my.
That's cool.
And that came
I
from
never really
skating.
thought of that. Yeah, that's
came
cool.
From skateboarding. I think I never mastered a single skate trick, but I definitely was able to nail a heel flip. That's it. I could
I've heard
never
that before.
kick flip.
I have one of my sons can heel flip and can't really kick flip.
I could never kick flip.
Yeah.
But I can heel flip. Could heel flip.
I've seen it. I know.
She can shred it. You're going to show him after this.
No. I couldn't even slide down there on my bottom.
You should.
I can get you to do that.
Yeah, you should.
I
You got like
can't.
burlap sacks?
No, I just know a technique to do it safely. But it's kind of a thing here, especially when we have TV hosts and stuff come.
Absolutely.
Or if we have VIP meet and greets and stuff. I eventually get someone to
Gotta
slide
go down the ramp.
They're like, I won't even go up there, and then eventually to go up there, and then at some point I'm dangling them over, and I'm like, I can't pull you back up.
There is something about being somewhere nostalgic. Like to me, Nitro Circus.
It's funny you say nostalgic because like I've definitely been skating a long time, and I consider this ramp sort of a newer era. Do you know what I mean? So you're saying nostalgic. I get it because it's over 20 years old.
Yep.
But for me, it's like this is still the height of technology for skate ramps.
Yeah, but when I walk in, I'm like, what a beautiful ramp. 20 years old. It's amazing. But as an outsider, I've seen it so much.
Yeah.
Right? When you see something forever. I met you in Santa Monica once. You might have been filming with like Ed Bassmaster or something.
Oh, yes.
It was a friend of mine at that time.
Okay.
And it was cool because you took the time, took photos with me. It was
we
really
were
cool.
doing that psh thing. Yeah.
Dude, what a good video.
I almost got my ass kicked that day.
Everybody.
Oh, no.
I mean, I was like, and at some point I was like, why am I walking around Venice trying to provoke people? This is the worst idea.
What made you, how'd you get into that?
We were doing, we had some connection, I can't remember, but we were doing our website Shred or Die, which was an offshoot of Funny or Die, but it was all skate stuff. It eventually became Ride Channel, but we were still trying to figure out where our place was, and they're like, you gotta do more cross promotions. Like, we know Ed Bassmaster, do something with him. And I was like, cool, yeah, let's do it. And then little did I know that he was gonna put me in danger.
Yeah, and the more danger, the more views.
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
It was
yeah,
like that
yeah.
era of YouTube. But Ed was.
It was fun, though.
What
It
a
was fun.
fun
Yeah.
human.
Yeah.
Got to shoot a lot of videos with him, and same thing. You almost get your ass beat every time
Yeah.
you're out with him.
Yeah.
But he would eat it up. He'd get right in people's faces.
Oh yeah, well he would, but he wanted me to go rogue and do it on my own for a little bit, and that's when I was like, I don't think I'm cut out for this.
Dude, that's funny. It's funny. You'll about kill yourself on a ramp, but That was
yeah, but
sick.
that it's my own.
I know.
I'm accountable for it. It's
Yeah.
my own destiny. It's not someone deciding they're gonna
Provoking someone else.
knock me out.
Speaking of injuries, I'm sure you've been over this a million times. What was your first broken bone?
Oh, I broke my elbow in 1997.
Oof.
Shooting well, I can say it now. I was shooting a Gap commercial, and I'll never forget it because it was a sort of a, remember fun boxes? Everyone had the
course.
So it was like a launch ramp to a landing ramp.
Yep.
And they were shooting us going over it. And I know for those commercials, they just want the action. They're going to zoom in really close. And I was so full of pride that I was like, I'm not going to just jump in. I'm going to backside 180 over it. And so I just told myself that I'm going to do that, right? And I was grabbing Weddle grab. Anyway, getting into the weeds here. And so I thought, okay, I'm Weddle backside 180. And they're like, all right, go. And I made it. They're like, oh, we couldn't move the camera fast enough for that one. Do it again. And I was like, I don't want to do that one again. Like that was super
a one and
scary.
done.
Yeah. And so I did it again. I cased the landing and then just flew to the flat. And as soon as I hit, I got nauseous and I knew I broke something.
Oh, yeah.
And they said, you okay? I'm like, yeah. And I could see as I moved my elbow, something was like moving over
Popping
here.
out.
And then went to the hospital. I said, yeah, you broke it. And my first instinct, because that was pretty lean times at that point in my life, was I'm not going to be in the commercial and I'm not going to get residuals from it. Because I was like, I really needed that job.
Yeah, that was, you said for Gap.
For Gap,
So,
yeah.
so they could have changed it up. Make sure you clear the gap and then showed your wreck, bro.
I didn't think about that. True, yeah. The Gap. Don't fall in it. He fell in it. See what happens?
just show
Do you
broken-
see what happens?
Broken elbow. Yeah, dude, they
You
could
got to. Well, then that would be the wrong promotion. Like that would be saying you got to avoid the Gap.
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't have worked out for them.
Clear the Gap. Yeah.
I think now would be great.
Anyway,
you got to get the
long
footage.
story short, I did get one good shot jumping that thing, and they liked it, and
It
I was
made
in
it.
the commercial. Yeah.
Heck yeah. How old were you?
I was like 27,
Okay.
maybe 26, 27. I just remember because my son was really young, and I'm still trying to make a career of skateboarding, and it was very tricky to find any kind of job. And I was like, I got a Gap commercial, yes. And I was like, I broke my elbow, but it worked out. Oh, and they put me. You know what? Okay, this story goes on. They put me on workman's comp after that.
Really?
Yeah, because I got hurt at a shoot, and it's a SAG job, and so they said, "Oh, we're gonna start giving you money each week until you work again." And I thought, well, I don't live in the entertainment industry. Like I'm a skateboarder, so I get paid off skateboard royalties. So it's not my job continues, even though I wasn't making much money. Like I still have a job. And they said, well, once you work in film or television again, then those payments will stop. And so then I started getting these payments, which was very helpful.
Yeah.
Every week. And then at some point I got requested to shoot another commercial. I think it was like an American Express ad for the East Coast. And they said, we just need you to do the one really basic thing. And it doesn't, it's not going to put you at risk. And my elbow was starting to get better. And so then I called the workman's comp and I said, I guess I'm working again. They said, all right, well, shutting down the payments.
Dang.
But I mean, to all that time, I was just really thankful.
Yeah, that's
That
huge.
was a weird experience, though.
It doesn't seem like you ever had a lack of resistance through your career, based on what I've seen, the documentary.
Resistance and how?
Like you got
Like
your
struggles?
first job and you break your elbow, or you.
Oh. Yeah.
It looked like you were always fighting through a lot of.
Yeah, I think I just learned that early on, especially just skateboarding teaches you that.
Yeah.
Just get back up.
Get back up,
Yeah.
clear the gap.
Clear the gap. I did. Yeah, I stopped doing backside 180s after that one.
It's the last one.
On the
Retired.
big jumps, yeah.
Tired.
Yeah.
So what's the most dangerous stunt you've ever done?
I jumped between two buildings downtown LA, like 7-story buildings. That was stupid.
No net,
No.
no safety.
No. I mean, I practiced it. I practiced it the day before. I knew that as long as I made it to the,
You were gonna clear it no
as
matter
soon as I
what.
made it to the top of the ramp, I'm gonna clear the thing.
Yeah.
So, the worst part about that whole day was that they set up the ramps, they had it all ready to go, and then it just started raining, and we had to wait out the rain, and we had to wait for a break in the weather. It wasn't like it cleared up. It was like, okay, it's not raining now, and then they pulled out those jet dryers,
Okay.
and just tried frantically to dry the ramp.
When it's raining, you're not thinking maybe this is my sign to not do it.
I mean, it was an MTV shoot. It was very much like, we're doing this
We're doing
today,
it.
or it's not happening.
We got to do it.
Yeah.
That's that. I always get into that. Something happens with your flight, you miss it. Or, well, I'm not supposed to go on that trip, right?
Oh.
You can so easily just talk yourself out of things. Or at least I've always been
No,
like that.
I knew there was a lot. Well, I mean, there was a lot at stake for me, but it was more like in those days I didn't have any sort of, I didn't think I had any leverage to be like, this isn't going to happen. It was more like, I set this whole thing up. I put this in motion. MTV's paying for it. Like, I got to make it happen. Yeah.
And you did. That was awesome. I want to back up. Do you have anything you want to jump in?
Yeah, I mean, I just have like a bunch of questions from fans.
Oh, she asked
If we want
online.
to get into
Okay.
any of those,
Well, let me.
but go ahead.
I want to back up to your childhood again. It was mentioned many times that you were kind of a hellion. You were a lot to put up with.
Yes, I was very determined. That's how my mom put it. That was her nice way
Very
of putting it.
determined.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear like just a story that you haven't shared of something just that you remember that you put your mom through. I love the toilet flushing story was fantastic.
Oh yeah, where she yes.
I want to do that to one of our kids.
We need to do it.
I need to do
we have
that.
4 kids, so
I still ponder how she hid from me.
it's like the new
because
blanket
I remember
trick.
her bathroom. There was no side exit. You know what I mean? Like I still can't figure it out. But so kudos to my mom for getting that one over on me.
That's amazing.
You're gonna have a lot of parents doing that now that you shared it. It was such a good trick.
Yeah. Well, to tell the story is that I was annoying my mom so much. She said, if you insult me one more time, or whatever it was, bug me one more time, I'm going to flush myself down the toilet. And then she went in the bathroom, flushed the toilet, and somehow disappeared. Hid, yeah. And I was like, my mom!
So you're just staring at the toilet?
Staring at the toilet, swirling down. I remember it.
How old do you think you were?
I don't know, maybe 5 or 6.
Okay.
I think I remember there's actually a photo of this of my brother. We were at some thing and I was bored and they had 3 Frisbees. And so I was like, I want to play Frisbee. Like that's what we're doing here. Cause I think it was my sister's, band rehearsal. So my sister had a band and they couldn't just leave me at home because I was too little. So I'm just stuck, bored, whatever. My brother's there too, and he's playing Frisbee. They have 3 Frisbees, so I want all of them. I want all the Frisbees. And my mom was so sick of me at that point. She's like, just give them all to him. My brother's like, what? We're playing. She's like, I don't care. I don't want to hear his shit anymore. She didn't say that, but she had every right to.
Yeah.
And then there's a picture of me holding all 3 Frisbees, not with a happy look on my face, with a like, yeah. Like, these are mine.
I get what I want.
Yes, that's right. Just like,
I love it. Having kids is so much relation.
Yeah. By
like,
the last one, it's like, just give it to him. Like, you're older. Stop his whining.
yeah.
oh yeah, the last one's the worst. Yeah, for sure.
Literally.
Yeah.
He's our crazy
Yeah,
man.
we have a 2-year-old now that's just like giving us everything.
Yeah.
He's our wild child.
He is a bulldozer.
That's how we know if we're for sure done, right?
Yeah, he's the final sign off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
it's my youngest son. That was his role for sure.
How many kids do you have?
Between my wife and I, we have 6.
Okay.
But my youngest boy was definitely the one that was just like, yeah, just give him, to him.
Whatever it takes. to
Stop
just-
it.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it anymore. and he would torture his older brother like really badly. And we should have been more cognizant of that, I think. And then now, my daughter's 14. She's the last one home.
14. Wow.
One at home.
I have a 18-year-old, which is crazy.
Oh yeah.
My first one, he's signing a lease on an apartment, and like where it's breaking my heart.
Wow.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
Well, I have a 30-year-old, and it's still they still need stuff. They still need stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot different. It evolves into
More expensive stuff.
more expensive stuff, and more long-term decisions.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I still, not financially, but I still go to my dad for all kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Usually for advice, investment, things that I want to do. I still go to my dad.
Yeah, that's cool though.
Like, should I buy this house?
Yeah.
Right? And I still listen to him. So it's like built into me. Like, if my dad says no,
It's funny
I'm not gonna
though,
do it.
being a dad and thinking like, I'm just winging it. I don't
have
know
the-
if I'm the guy to give you advice. I'm
True.
still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, as a kid, you look at grown-ups and you're like, man, they really got
They
their
got it,
crap
yeah.
together. And then you're an adult, you're like, we really don't, but we try and feel like we do.
Yeah, there's no class for that.
No,
You have
no.
a kid, and all of a sudden,
Yeah.
you've got to raise it. And
Yeah.
I'd love to hear more about because we had a YouTube career that created a lot of traveling, a lot of, even to this day, we're sitting here with you and our kids are at home. It's finding that balance.
Yep.
The family. I know you touched on that in the doc, but I'd love to hear about that, how you found that happy place,
By saying no. I mean, that was it. I
no to
didn't-
business or no to...
just yes, and opportunities and just it's weird and it probably sounds a little too privileged, but at some point I was just chasing and then when chasing a career or chasing a paycheck through skating, because I still wanted to skate for a living, so I was just going to make it work however I could, and then at some point. The opportunities started coming and coming in a way that was kind of overwhelming, and I didn't ever think that I should say no or could say no. I never had that freedom because I needed all that stuff to be happening, and then at some point, that's all that was happening, and it very much took time away from my family. And when I finally realized, like, oh, you can say no and that'll be okay. And there's agency in that, and there can be peace in that. And then suddenly it was like, yeah, maybe I don't need to go on that trip, or maybe I don't need to go do those things or do that interview or whatever it is. And it allowed me time to really focus on my family.
Yeah.
And that was a hard transition to make and a hard thing to realize. And but that's the thing. You get caught in that cycle. You get caught in that, like the carrot is dangling in front of you. You're just always going for it.
There's always more.
There's always more, yeah.
There's always more, but there's also the stage of sacrifice that's required for all success.
Sure, yeah.
That now has set your whole family into this wonderful lifestyle.
Yeah, for sure. And like, I would never say, and I come from a different perspective because obviously I I did well and I provide for my family well. But I think there is something to say about if you're really doing what you enjoy doing, it doesn't feel like work, and you don't have to have the greatest success at that to find peace.
I have no doubt that success or not, you would have skated your whole life.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
100%.
I mean, at some point I realized, like I'm skating, and then all of a sudden it was like, we're getting video games and opportunities and tours. And it's like, I would still do all this for free. Like, you're not,
Isn't that
you're not
the magic?
egging me on. Yeah. Like,
That is such the magic of finding what you love.
Yeah.
Right? You're always, I remember I just wanted to make videos. Like, I graduated in 01. YouTube didn't even exist till 2006.
Right.
I didn't start till 2009, but I'd already had full-length DVDs. I was going on Warped Tour, hand-selling movies. Like, that's just what I did.
Yeah.
Because I loved it. I was
Right.
always broke.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a place to make money.
Yeah.
It just
Someone told me recently, core is poor.
what is it?
Core is poor.
Core is poor.
Like if you're hardcore into what you're doing, like skating or surfing, or, and you have a skate shop and you're doing things, you're not.
Core is poor. I
Yeah.
like that. But it's
But it's worth it. Like I think that's the thing is that yes, there is value in the hustle, and at some point it might pay off. But even if it doesn't pay off, you're still gonna just enjoy that ride.
Yeah, the difference is the guy that starts skating to make money. That's where the pain is.
I think that what I've seen recently, and because of the success of skating and how prolific it is, you see the sort of kid, or even like the soccer moms or the coach dads who are like, get out there and do it, and you're gonna make money, or the motivation for the kids is fame and fortune.
Yeah.
And what I've seen is when they get a taste of either of those, they lose their motivation. Because that was the goal.
That was the end goal. I got it.
Means to an end, and then you're quickly forgotten about. And then they're always like, "What happened?" It's like, "Well, you didn't keep stepping up.
Yeah.
You got to keep pushing yourself."
Yeah. It really is so important. I pray that my kids find that love for something.
Yeah.
It's a blessing to do what I love. Like, not a lot of people get that. Like, to do what you love financially and be free from financial stress is a blessing.
Oh, for sure.
Right? So for my kids, I'm just like constantly like, man, I'm praying that they find that one little thing that they just love, whether they make it or not. They have that thing they love.
I think also what people don't realize is it doesn't have to be the exact thing you imagine it to be. It could be something that is in that circle, or that is a tangent to what that is, and you could find the same sort of enjoyment out of it. For instance, people who skate, and maybe they realize at one point, I'm not going to be a pro skater, but that's all I wanted to do is skate. But then they're really good at holding a camera, keeping someone in frame while they're skating. And it's like, and that is a unique skill.
Heck yeah.
And you can do all that, or they're super good artists or super good photographers, and then they're doing that, but it's all surrounded in their passion, which is skating. I see that time and time again where it's like, oh, I love what I'm doing because I get to go to all the events with this skill and not just the specific, competitions for my age group or whatever.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Such a good point, and I see that all the time with people. Is there anything during this whole career that you also enjoyed that wasn't so public?
I think at some point I learned to savor all the travel, because when we were young, on Bones Brigade and doing all that stuff, we were just zeroed in on the skating. So it was like, all right, get us to the ramp, going to the skate shop. And so I'm going to all these amazing places all over Europe and Australia and Japan, and I'm not even looking around.
Just laser focused on.
And it's like, oh, this is, everything was weird. The food was weird, and
the plugs were weird.
Yeah, and we weren't going sightseeing that much either. I mean, we did just because we thought that's what we were supposed to do. But at some point, I realized like what a golden opportunity you have to go see the world, and I should embrace that more. And I leaned into that, especially into my adult life, and with my kids. And that was another way to balance, work, home life by bringing them all along and making time for them to enjoy the travel.
That's super cool. That's super. You had some skater kids yourself, yeah?
Well, all of my boys skate.
Yeah.
Yes. My oldest son is a pro skater.
Yeah, that's what
That's awesome.
Couldn't remember his name. I apologize.
Riley just turned 30 last year, and he's still a pro skater. He's found his own path, style,
super cool
way to do it. Yeah, it's really fun. I mean, I'm always floored by his skills. But to be honest, all of my kids skate, and they're all good. They just chose to focus on something else as a career. Of
course. Skating is so freaking hard. It is so freaking hard unless you're gonna like we've seen in you, the dedication, the determination is like I've never seen in my life. Like I feel like
it's a bit obsessive.
I feel like I wonder, had you picked anything in life with the determination you had, would you have been as successful at it? Because you had the ability to just, I'm doing this, nothing's stopping me, bam.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that I thought at some point I was going to be a video editor because I learned that skill early on, and I was able to piece things together, not just skate videos, but other types of story type of stuff. And so I thought, okay, maybe that'll what I'll have to do. Maybe that's going to be my career because skating is not paying the bills.
Yeah.
And I have 2 mortgages and I have a kid on the way, and this, I'm still trying, but at some point maybe that I'll just have to find that. And I don't know if I would be as well. I certainly wouldn't have been as successful, but I don't know if I would have been so laser focused on it either. It would have felt more like this
because it wasn't the passion.
This is what I need to do.
Yeah.
Not what I want to do.
Yeah.
So there's a moment where you were making a lot of money, 17 years old, selling decks, 6 figures. And then there was a moment where you had the home with the awesome skate ramps in the back. And then there was a moment where that all got torn down.
Yeah.
What happened in between making the money, affording the home and the ramps, and then having to tear that place down?
You mean like why did that happen?
Yeah.
I mean, a number of things. I think that mostly skating had sort of went back underground. The bubble of popularity had burst, and all the skate parks were closing because they couldn't afford liability insurance. That was a big factor in all of that. There were dozens of skate parks across the country, but they were all private facilities. You had to pay to use them, and then at some point, their liability insurance was untenable. So they started closing. Skating went more street, underground, far less popular, but still moving along. And for me, I was considered an older vert skater. Vert skating was no longer cool or accessible. Like there's no vert ramps around. And I was all of 25, and it was just like, what do I do? And so I had to sell the house. Like I had to tear down the ramps because we had to sell the property because I just couldn't afford it anymore. But to answer your question, my royalty checks based on board sales were starting to get cut in half every month.
Wow.
That's how drastic.
Got it. So this was like
decrease
happening
was.
fast.
Very fast, yeah. And salaries that I had from other sponsors, shoe sponsors and whatever, were the same, getting cut in half or just done.
So what at that point you must have thought
that was it. And
my skate career is over.
I had a video editing system, an early sort of primitive one for home use, but I could use it, and so I started taking odd jobs doing video editing for a minute.
So at 25 ish, 25ish, your skate career is what you believe is coming to an end.
Yes. Yeah. But all along I was still skating.
Of course.
Because it always provided me so much enjoyment. So I would go to whatever ramp was in town. In fact, a competing skate brand had a ramp in San Diego at the time, and I used to just beg them to skate theirs.
Let me skate.
Yes.
Let me skate.
Yeah.
Thanks. So when does Pro Skater come into the picture?
Well,
because that was
the release was 1999.
Okay.
But I signed on with them a year prior to that.
Yeah, I guess when did that money start to?
Right after the first release, and into the second release is when they saw this success.
What was that like, getting that check, man?
Surreal. I mean, it I never imagined. When people say like, oh, this is what y'all dreamed of. Like I could not have dreamt something that huge. I couldn't have dreamt any kind of success like that.
So these guys come to you, they say they're making a video game?
Yeah, I had already been pitching a video game with a PC programmer because he told me, hey, I made an engine for skateboarding, and I wonder if you want to go to some publishers and some console manufacturers with me and say, let's do a skate game. So we went. It was really basic what he had. It wasn't that exciting to play, but it was something. And we went to a bunch of software companies and console manufacturers, and all of them just said, skateboarding's not...
Nobody's going to play it.
Skateboarding's not popular. Why would anyone play a skateboard video game for a home system? So he got frustrated. He was over it. And then less than a year later, Activision called me and they said, "We heard you're doing a video game." I said, "No, I'm not, but I would love to." I said, "Well, we are, and we want you to see it." And so I went to Activision and saw what they were working on and signed on.
How did Activision have the vision for?
I can't answer. I think it was more Neversoft. Neversoft was the studio. They had just done a game with Bruce Willis called Apocalypse, and it didn't do well. It actually, famously didn't do well. But the engine was perfect for skateboarding. And someone within Neversoft said, we should try to make this a skateboarder. And so the first version of what became Tony Hawk's Pro Skater was Bruce Willis on a skateboard with a gun on his back. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That is awesome. Again, a big fail turned into a big success.
Yeah. Yeah. There is like a little Easter egg in one of the levels. I think it's the mall level, where if you go up into the attic of the mall, there's a bunch of boxes of the game Apocalypse with cobwebs over them.
Nice.
Oh my gosh. That's really cool.
That is awesome. I still remember playing all games of that time thinking they'll never get better than this. I
felt the same way. I think after the second one, because there was some stuff that I thought was missing from the first one, and we managed to put that in the second one. I was like, that's it. That's as far as we can go.
It's never going to get better.
Yeah.
It's never going to get better. How do you feel about the other skating games? You got Skate.
Yeah. I think that for me, it definitely affected our business, but also I was proud that skateboarding was a genre of video games.
Sure.
That inspired other studios to make, to me, that was just a coming of age. So, and it was inevitable.
Yeah.
That we had the
With
skate
that much
game
success.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, looking back at, the first action sport movie ever.
What is that?
The Bone Brigade
Bones
movie,
Brigade, yeah,
right?
Okay. Yeah.
So it's like...
I thought you meant like an actual Hollywood movie.
No, well, that was Hollywood, man. Looking at the evolution of what that created, right? Like, there's a good chance I had a career because of those type of movies and videos. It showed people that you can do these things.
Mm-hmm. You're produce it yourself.
You're not crazy. You can do it. It's already been done.
Right.
Like, you guys really... I mean, that went on, no doubt, to help evolutionize the CKYs and the Jackasses, and you showed people you can have buddies doing fun stuff and doing what you love, and people are gonna watch it.
Right.
Like, so there's no doubt, to me, I think it's one of the coolest things that there's a timeline of kind of where it started, and that is definitely gotta be.
Well, credit goes to Stacy Peralta. I mean, he was the one that was producing the videos and got us to shoot and convinced us to follow a storyline a couple times.
I mean, it was just like, I'm thankful for it. Because there's no doubt.
Thank you.
There's no doubt it has inspired so many of us YouTubers and, the Rob Deerdecks and
yeah. I mean, a lot of that is just it's that DIY attitude and let's just make something fun. And there's plenty of super highlight action in it as well. Yep. To keep the core skaters happy, but it was really more about that lifestyle and that fun, those fun interactions. I mean, I think Lance Mountain was sort of the pinnacle of making it fun. In fact, he was here yesterday skating with me for the first time on this ramp ever.
No way.
Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
you've retired the 900, right? You haven't.
Oh yes.
Retired.
Very much
It
so.
was so easy. Why'd you retire?
Yeah.
What was the moment like? It was on camera that you landed that. How did that feel?
The first time?
The first time. Finally got it.
It was just a big relief.
The first landing was X Games, right?
X Games, yeah, because I had been trying it for almost 12 years to that point.
Oh my God.
At least 10 years actively. Wow. And a couple times I'd given up on it because I got hurt and I thought I had all the pieces figured out. I thought I had the solution to make it. And then when I went and put all those pieces together, I broke a rib and I just thought maybe I can't do it. I never thought it was impossible. I just thought maybe I'm not capable of it. And then a few times I revisited it, couldn't really commit to it. And then at the X Games, I did, it was a best trick event and I did, at the time, my best trick, which was a varial 720. So that's like It's a 720 spin with an extra board turn in the middle of that. It's complicated. And I made it halfway into that time frame of the best trick event, and then I didn't have anywhere to go from there. So I just started trying 900s.
Oh, I love that they just let you keep trying.
That was
the more shocking bit.
Right?
It was one of those clips that everybody saw.
I think. Honestly, I thought that yes, the time is up, and they shut down the. Like I thought the time was up and they shut down the feed because it was a live event. But that wasn't.
You were just rolling to roll.
That was not the goal anyway. At this point, I was so obsessed with the trick, I just had to get it done for myself. So I was gonna keep skating until either I made it or they took me away on a stretcher. Like those were the only two ends to that day. And it could have been very well like the crowd went home. You know what I mean?
And they just let you use
Tony's
the
not
ramp.
doing this.
Yeah, I'm going the distance.
Freaking epic, dude. That video went everywhere. Everywhere.
It got crazy.
You did not have to like skateboarding to see it. You did not have to be a part of any of that world. You saw that video.
It was wild time.
I remember, I don't know, probably teenagers, 20s, Tony Hawk, the most famous athlete in the world. I remember friends, like that was the most famous athlete in the world.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's crazy.
I mean, I still think of skateboarding as, for lack of a better word, alternative and underground. And there's just no way you were going to have a skateboarder that was on par with a Jordan.
It's wild.
That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I'm honored, but I still think in those terms.
Yeah. What's the humble mindset, I guess? What?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the Olympics, yeah.
God,
That's
skating in the
recent, right?
Olympics.
Yeah.
21.
You have to feel a bit
That's so cool.
responsible.
I was advocating for it when there was whispers that they would
Were you out with the
consider it.
signs?
No, but I went to Lausanne. I went deep. Yeah, I went to the IOC meetings and I went to a few just to try to explain to them that look, this is something valid. Kids, you will have a younger viewership again.
What a great thing. What a great thing.
And I think it definitely. I thought it was played well on TV, and for whatever purpose they wanted it, I thought they had some of the greatest action, and we're going to see it even bigger in Paris.
Heck yeah, dude! The Olympics has some dumb stuff.
They have some events that are
really
tedious.
cool.
Tedious.
What's that like speed walking thing?
Well, I mean, how many more swimming events can you have? That's all I'm saying. I appreciate the athleticism, but you got the short one, you got the long one, you got the different strokes, and it's just like we're just trying to get 3 skate disciplines. That's it. I hope that they consider doing vert.
Yeah.
I know they won't do it in Paris, but I hope they consider doing it the next one, which I think is LA.
Vert would make so much sense. So much freaking skill involved. Like that's a real sport.
Well, it's just an exciting spectator sport.
Yeah, it's big.
Because people are flying.
Air and
yeah,
it's like
and there's a
snowboarding.
little bit of that in the park event, but if you truly see the what is the highest technical tricks that they're doing in the park event, it doesn't compare to what happens on the vert ramp.
Yeah, it's just more visual pleasing.
I like to think so.
It is. It's like watching the snowboarders, and they're just flying, dude, and you're sitting there like, is he gonna land? Is he gonna land this? Clear the gap. Clear the gap, dude. That's the name of this podcast.
What's your favorite collaboration you've done?
Oh yeah.
With company, person?
It can't be the Roman Atwood podcast.
Next to that, being on The Simpsons.
Oh.
I mean, I don't know if that's a collaboration. I was asked to do it, and I did it, and I was very excited.
There's not many that get to do that.
It's still one of my favorite things.
That is awesome.
There are some quotes in that episode that people still throw at me, especially in South America.
Really?
Yeah.
You got a big Simpsons?
Huge, and it's translated. And there's one thing that Bart says to me that he's trying to make everyone know that he knows me. So when I drop him off at school, he's like, "Thanks a lot, Tony Hawk. Good to see you, Tony Hawk. You're cool, Tony Hawk." And that translated to "Un gran tipo, Tony Hawk," in Spanish. And when I go to South America, anywhere, people yell at that.
No way.
Yeah. "Un gran tipo."
That is awesome. You don't even think those shows are everywhere, but they are. Like bigger and better. It's like when we go to Europe, we're like more popular. It's weird. You know?
What do you say to people when they come up to you? Like, you look just like Tony Hawk.
I say I've
I love
I've
the
heard
tweets.
that, or I've heard that before, but you're the first today. That's usually my answer to that.
I like
And
that.
I can honestly say people still say it, and they mean it, and it happens all the time.
Yeah.
Well, you've had great success on Twitter with those stories.
I think it was when it happened once, this one time, I thought it was such a funny interaction, I should share that. And then that kind of went viral.
It did.
And then I just started sharing when it would happen, because it happens all the time. I think it's because people either they know my name or they know my face, but they know my face from my younger days.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, that guy couldn't have gotten old.
Could be him, but
Yeah, there's no
he's
way
not
like
that
he's
old.
he's
Yeah.
always 30.
He's always 30, yeah.
And then, or because my legal name is Anthony, so they see my ID. That happens a lot at airports, because like Anthony, oh, like Tony Hawk. Yeah. I wonder what that guy's doing.
How do you do with being recognized everywhere? Is it hard when is it more hard when you have the kids with you? Is it do you ever
People are usually pretty respectful and
Yeah.
and they
Yeah,
get
you don't have a
excited.
hateful
I'm
audience.
honored. Like, it's amazing. I can't believe that anyone still cares that what I do or wants to take a picture with me. So it's really cool. I would say the only downside to all of that is that now there's this great influx of resellers that have started to invade my places I go, and that's just weird. I mean, they're only in it to make money.
So when you say resellers,
They bring skateboards,
things for you to sign,
trading cards, video games, whatever,
and then they take that, like
and they take that
like
and
I
they
just
go
did with this
sell it.
board.
They go sell it on eBay or on their sites or whatever. But they have gotten so
Aggressive.
and pervasive that they will pay people to get your flight information.
Oh man.
Or they just know I'm going to be somewhere and they crowd the entrance. And it's not that I respect the hustle to a degree, but it starts to invade on the true fans experience, because there are true fans that are there that they really just want to say hi and hello and take a photo or whatever. And it all just monopolizes their time, and they feel slighted. And I hate that.
Yeah. It dirties the water a little bit.
It dirties the water, yeah, absolutely, and it just makes it like I just can't do it. Like sometimes I will abide by it, but sometimes like, you know what, I can't do it because you guys have wrecked it for other people.
Yeah, that's a shame. Yeah, I mean, success is double-edged sword.
I mean, yeah. The other part is like, wham, people want my autograph.
Yeah.
Like, what am I complaining about?
Yeah, for the normal
But
person.
I feel
it's
bad.
normal.
I feel bad that like there was a public signing recently. That's kind of when it came to a head, and there was a line around the building for it was the Bones Brigade. We were there signing stuff, but I would say at least a third, if not half, of the people were there as resellers. So they're not actual skate fans. They didn't grow up watching the Bones Brigade. They're
just trying to make
only in
money.
it to make money, and they have these very specific items, and they crowd the front of the line, and that was a bummer.
Yeah, it's rough. Just too dang popular, dude.
That's what I mean.
too dang popular.
It does feel. Yeah. There's a part of me that also feels ridiculous for complaining about such a thing, but it's a real thing that happens, and so I do.
I mean, your brain can only take so much being taken advantage of. It's basically what it is. They're taking advantage
Right.
of you, and that's no human wants to be taken advantage of. Period. No matter level of success
Right.
that there is.
What's your favorite place that you've traveled to? Like whether it's with your family or before kids or
I would say Iceland and Japan. They're vastly different, but both are amazing.
I've heard Japan.
never
is
been to either.
Japan is so good. It's like you're living in a video game. It's so cool.
so cool. I've heard that. Yeah, I've never been to Japan. I stopped there on a flight, but never been to Japan.
Yeah, you got to go.
You guys are back in these arenas, which is insane, the setup on these arenas and them shots. And you're talking about you guys are literal rock stars, right? During these events, you're rock stars. Everyone there is obsessed with you. They want to watch you. What I didn't see in the documentary was any of these rock star stories after the shows. Like what's a killer story you haven't really maybe shared or you have shared but it's really funny? Like give me a good night or a good time.
Yeah, I don't know. So in those days, this the 80s, like, yes, we had a lot of fans and people would come to show up, but when you go out in public, no one cared, and we looked different, and we were skaters. So it wasn't like we were being welcomed with open arms and red carpets were
Outside
rolling
of
out.
the event.
Outside of the event, yeah. That didn't happen until things got kind of big in the early 2000s when we were doing like Huck Jam stuff, and then, but also, and yeah, there was enough debauchery, but for the most part, we had to do these high performance events every day. So you weren't getting out of control. Free time. Yeah, it wasn't, you know what I mean? It wasn't like you could go raging and then all you have to do is sing your songs the next night. Like you had to put on a high performance show. But definitely there were like flexes in those moments where I remember so like on the tours I would have the big suite. And so I invite everyone back to my suite, like after the show. I guess this is one story. It's not salacious, but I think it's funny. And like I have a dining table in my suite. And so I'm like, let's get some food. So I call up room service. I was like, just give me one of everything on the menu. And they said, we can't do that. I go, what do you mean? I just want like one of everything. Like,
sample
no,
platter.
sir. And so then I proceeded to read every item off the menu.
This is what I want.
And they said, yes, okay. Yeah, and the steak au poivre, yes. Oh, yeah, okay. And want the chicken? Yes. And the ravioli? Yes. I'm like, okay, I just read you everything.
Get it up here.
Yeah. That was my ridiculous, like,
That's
I'm
awesome.
too cool.
I love it. Do you have anything?
Yeah. Is there anything that you're working on currently that you are super excited about, or anything?
Yeah,
come?
we just we are doing a collaboration with Birdhouse for Birdhouse Apparel with a group in Las Vegas, and they're designing it, and they're really taking it in a new direction, and I'm excited.
And where can people find that?
Birdhouseapparel.com.
Okay.
Birdhouse, just hearing the name and seeing the logo, it just takes me back so many years, dude. It's incredible. Such an incredible brand. My brother, he's very industrial, owns a factory, and he wants to know who makes the best ball bearings.
Bones.
Bones. That's what he said. Bones.
Well, okay, so I have a funny story about that. I ride Bones Swiss, but Bones makes a higher end bearing called ceramics they're pricey, and they used to send me ceramics. And I'm notorious for giving my skateboards away, my completes. Most people only swap out their deck and they keep their trucks and wheels because your trucks are very much in tune with how you skate. Mm-hmm. I got so used to riding new gear because I'd give my boards away to charities and auctions and things like that now I'd rather have a new complete setup. So at some point, Bones was like, we can't keep sending you ceramics.
You're just giving them away.
You can't give you don't get a new pair of ceramics every month. That's not how this works.
How much better were they? You actually
They're fast. They're very fast. Yeah, but Swiss are fast. So I'm not complaining. But it was funny at some point. I got
you're running out of ceramic.
I got reprimanded.
Bearings.
Yeah.
You're a founder of Liquid Death, or
I'm an investor.
Investor.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm an ambassador.
Ambassador. Okay.
Yeah, that's the best way of putting it.
Yeah, I kept talking about wanting. We've talked about wanting water sponsors. I've been off caffeine for 4 months. We've been alcohol free for 4 years, and we were like, we need a water sponsor. And the first thing that everybody posted was Liquid Death. And I'm like, what is Liquid Death? So then I start seeing it, and then the problem became people think that I'm drinking alcohol.
Yeah.
So now I'm
it
like,
gets tricky when you're driving too. When you open
and
a
I'm like,
can of Liquid Death, it's like,
I'm like,
oh, is anyone watching me do this? Like,
all my viewers know I'm sober. So I'm
Right.
like, if I'm seen with this can,
yeah. I
well, they're
mean,
gonna think
that's part of the.
yeah, it's
that's-
kind of the cool part, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's part of the
But
whole thing.
as a 40-year-old, I'm like, I'm sober, bro. I'm not,
Well, I think everyone knows what it is.
not trying to be cool. Yeah.
Back when it was first coming out, everyone's like, "What is that?"
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now everyone knows.
Yeah, the marketing behind it was astonishing.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, and they're very much rooted in our worlds. So
Yeah.
it felt like a connection. Oi. Jason Ellis is here.
What up? From the early years where you started on, what were the first boards you started on called? They had a, like, more of a specific.
Now, yeah, the boards have evolved, yes.
Yeah, so.
The first board I had no kicktail, had no nose. The trucks were 4 inches wide. The board
It was just a flat,
5 inches. It was flat.
plate, yeah. So the question really becomes like, where do you see this board moving to? Like, is it mastered? Is this the best version of the skateboard?
As of now, yes. I think that we would benefit from a new technology for the board itself, something that is more resilient, something that stays.
Yay!
I love
This is
it. That
Jason.
looks so scary.
Jason's trying to tell you he wants to skate.
Jason wants to skate?
So yeah, we need better material for the board itself. That's
Better.
because we're using 7-ply wood maple for the last 40 years.
I'm just thinking of like the Back to the Future board, the hoverboard, like.
No, I still want to have wheels. I still want to have wheels.
Gotta,
I had my experience with an actual hoverboard and it wasn't great.
I remember that.
Yeah.
You guys did like a whole giant setup, right?
Yeah, and I just started spinning into oblivion because it was very hard to
Those
control.
things are scary.
But, I mean, maybe they'll figure it out. But I like the idea of wheels. I like trucks. I like being able to grind. I like doing board slides, stuff like that. It's just
Heck
more
yeah.
that the sea change that needs to happen in skateboarding is a material
What
that's
it's made
not
out of.
wood. Yeah, and it's tricky because you probably would develop something that would be more pricey and last a lot longer. But how do you sell, a skateboard for whatever, like the deck itself for
Yeah.
$200, $300? I don't know. That's going to be the
Inflation,
the
man.
challenge. Yeah.
It's inflation.
Yeah.
Where are you investing these days? Where do you put some of your money?
A lot of it comes from friends' recommendations and things that I find interesting. I do a lot. I do some restaurant stuff.
Okay.
Mostly because I'm a big foodie or fan of food,
Right on.
and it's more like I just like that I can get a reservation at those
Nice.
places. But we're actually starting a hot chicken sandwich place here in Encinitas. A friend of mine who's a fabulous chef called Chicken Hawk, and we just got our
Chicken
plans approved, so that's happening.
It's a perfect name, dude.
So yeah,
That's right.
we're very excited.
All right, man. Last thing, hit my viewers with just some life advice, man. What can you give them to power through today?
Celebrate your small wins. Like, I know there's probably bigger goals in your future, but if you're making progress, celebrate that. I learned that in the hardest way with my leg recovery, where I was like, I can't do any of this stuff, but it's like, hey, but today you dropped in.
Today I'm walking.
Yeah, today
Today you dropped in.
today I'm walking and not focusing on my walk and not limping. And it's like,
The small wins.
it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Heck yeah. Well, Tony, thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Thanks
it's
for having me. Thanks for coming down with all the stuff.
absolute honor and
Cool.
huh? Oh yeah. Let's
We're giving this away.
those that are listening now are dedicated. So let's
Okay.
give this away to one of you guys. Not sure the best way to do it. You can't talk to people on YouTube comments anymore. So it's got to be like somebody that shares it on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Share it. We're gonna pick somebody. Share the
There you go.
podcast. We're gonna pick somebody and send this. Tony signed it. It's freaking
Yes.
sick. I might just sell it on eBay, Tony. I'm sorry.
No, this whole ploy is just for reselling. I get it now. I see what you guys
We got
have done.
the one of right here, baby. Now this is
Cool.
for you guys.
This is a long way to go for one sale.
We love you. You're beautiful. You're one of a kind. Smile more.